Welcome. I'm Rogers Anderson, Williamson County Mayor, and today we're going to have a little different twist of our show. We have Gordon Hampton with us, our Parks and Recreation Director, and we're going to talk specifically about our new facility that we're building over on Columbia Avenue, the Enrichment Center, and the Community Theater. So thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me this morning. Glad to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about the Parks and Rec before we actually get into what we want to spend our time, most of our time on, and how much Parks and Rec's department has grown over the last 20 years, 30 years, and you've been right there with the journey. Of course, you go back into the 90s, and there was a great period of time there that the county commission and the leadership at that time were trying to decide how much money and time and effort do we actually put into Parks and Rec, and is it something that benefits our community? Thank goodness we were able to pull the referendum out. Surprisingly, very, very high vote by the people saying Parks and Rec needs to be part of the government programs we offer here, and from that day since, it has been an absolute phenomenal journey.
Well, you're not kidding. You would know right off the top of your head how much that initial amount was. What was it, about $4 million?
It wasn't much.
And compared to the inflation and the way things cost now, but when the public made that decision years ago to support Parks and Recreation, it's never stopped. Actually, the demand has increased. And, you know, it's a quality of life issue. Williamson County is a place that people want to live, whether it's families with children or even the grandparents chasing those kids. Everybody is coming in record numbers. You look at all the statistics with the job growth and how we're outpacing the norm. You know, we like to feel like Parks and Recreation is a big part of that as well.
In those early days, we primarily focused on ball fields, activities out in the field, and it was about that period of time also that we really developed the first Parks and Rec facility over at the Franklin location in conjunction, working with Franklin under our old Parks and Recreation joint venture agreement that we had. And we've kind of deviated away from that now. The Parks and Rec under your direction is taking on a whole new journey. During the last couple of years, part of it under Doug Hood, your predecessor, and now under you, we're actually seeing facilities such as off from the Trace that's been very, very successful out there.
Yeah, it's nice when you know that you have the support of the mayor, obviously, thank you, and the county commission to step out and there's really not anything that's outside our comfort zone. But basically, you're right. For many years, the volunteers in Williamson County built some really nice parks. And it still means a lot of people that live in Bethesda and College Grove and those areas, because some of those structures that are there in those parks today have been renovated by our current administration, but they were originally built by volunteers. And so when you even go back that far, you know, the grassroots effort has always been in the community, ball fields, things for kids. But we've evolved into full-blown rec centers now, aquatics, natatoriums, tennis, and then just recently, like you said, at the Timberland Park, we've started getting into passive parks, and boy did we hit the nail on the head right there, because our attendance is through the roof out there.
So kind of tell the people where the park is. It's been open a couple of years now, a year and a half, I guess, and it's just a phenomenal location to have a good afternoon stroll.
You know, this time of year, well, every season the park changes. So there's really not any reason to say, well, I've been there once, I don't need to go back. That's certainly not the case. You know, as the staff out there has worked really hard to develop additional trails, you know, and we've got a unique opportunity to continue to build new trails in and new loops. We also have a good partnership, you know, with a resident out there, Dr. John Oppenheimer, who has a 300-acre piece of property that's adjacent to Timberland Park, and the county commission approved about a year and a half ago the opportunity to join those two together, and we have a contract with him. So we're able to use his 300 acres also, which has given us even more opportunities to develop trails, and the trail actually now goes all the way from the Natchez Trace to Big East Fork Road. So we have a golden opportunity out there, and it's really a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful place, actually.
Well, it is, and as I sit here and I think about the beauty of this county, the hills and the trees and the changing of the colors, although this particular year they didn't change as much because we didn't have as much rain. But it's a great opportunity. It is a little nippy in the month of January and February to roll out on the trails, but it's just an also good time to bundle up and go see part of nature's, because you can certainly see the deer and the other critters without the chiggers, without the ticks, and without other interference. But yes, but a lot of those animals this time of year, they're out there. There's plenty of trees, plenty of nuts for them to enjoy. And if you're into that and you got a good camera, I know most of our phones have one, you're bound to see something. Need to be mindful of that black and white critter that crawls around, the little skunk. But most of those critters are going to leave you when you're walking down the trail. It's a great opportunity to enjoy nature.
You know, it really is, and you hit on something that when you're out there during the spring and summer and the trees are in full canopy, you really can't enjoy the topography and the way that the land rolls and the hills. And sometimes you don't realize how steep it is, and it's really, when those trees drop, you can see forever, and it really opens it up and kind of unveils, you know, what's really in a forest.
Well, in this particular time, we probably all need to take that journey because of all the extra food that we're eating because of the holiday season. Gordon, about almost 2 years ago, really 3 years ago, there was a push by several people in the community to enlarge, improve our senior citizens here in Williamson County. We have some wonderful senior citizens that have been utilizing our J.L. Clay Center on Bridge Street in Franklin. Of course, we've got other senior citizens throughout the county, different locations, Martin Center in Brentwood. You've certainly got a group in Bethesda and Hillsborough and College Grove. But an effort was made to build a facility that would include all of the senior residents in Williamson County, roll that back up underneath Parks and Rec, and expand those services. Not that they were bad, but have Parks and Rec have design programs and things, activities, trips, but above all, have a facility that people could come, sit down, enjoy it, and just sit and talk or have meetings there, whatever they desired. And out of that, a group of men and women met many months trying to develop this new center on the OBGA campus. We owned the land, the county owned the land, and to put a facility that would blend in, that would set in with the topography there and the other surrounding buildings the best we can, and do homage and respect to the OBGA site. And out of that is we developed a building that's soon to be open. Let's talk about it a little bit, that we're going to call an enhanced building, I call it, but it's also an area for our seniors to come and go, and not just them, but youth too. And on top of that, we're on the backside doing a community theater. So thanks for shepherding that project along, and let's talk about it a little bit.
Well, thank you for, you know, trusting Parks and Recreation to take such a heavy role in enriching the lives of seniors and families. And you know, when you look at it, you talk about the history of the campus at BGA, and the task force that was assembled wanted to hold on to the history, because that's really a big part of Williamson County, is the historical part and preservation and so forth. So when you put all that together and you bring in a dynamic group of people that have a love for the community, you know, you can get some really good ideas. And so we were able to adapt that from the enrichment center, from the task force, and then create, you know, what we're going to do on this campus. And so I'd love to be able to share that with everybody. And what it boils down to is this: the old BGA campus is now referred to as Academy Park. There are a couple of things that have already been there and been used for a number of years. The Williamson County Schools has a facility there that used one of the old buildings, and it's Renaissance High School. They do a wonderful job there. Dr. Brian Bass and his students, their enrollment's growing every year because it's become a destination for a lot of children to go to school there. Then the county built the main library there, and what a phenomenal facility that is. And it sort of holds with the tradition of a campus in that it's a learning environment. It's a place for all ages and everybody to meet. And Dolores Greenwald and her staff just do a phenomenal job for the community all over, but especially there in their mothership. Then you have the gymnasiums that have been there since, oh my gosh, those things were built back in the early 1930s, 40s, and 50s. And we enhanced those with a grant from the state of Tennessee years ago. And we literally have thousands of children and even adults playing sports in there year round. So those things already existed. The football stadium, we had to tear the bleachers down because of safety, but we still use the playing surface there. The local high school lacrosse and middle school clubs use that on a daily basis. So those things already existed. So the task force said, we need to do more. So like you said, we had some existing facilities that the county operated through groups like J.L. Clay. Those buildings were getting a little bit old, and we knew we had to do something. So we now have the Enrichment Center. And Mayor, here in just a couple of weeks, we're going to open a state-of-the-art facility that's going to serve seniors in capacities ranging from health and wellness to education to just leisurely activities. We're going to have 3 of the nicest porches that you could imagine on this building. And so when you think about porches and just being able to sit around and relax, rocking chairs, ceiling fans on the verandas, 2 fireplaces, a wellness center, a huge dance studio. We're going to have a banquet facility that'll seat 250 people, something that the county does not have and needs desperately because of meeting space and in a unique location in downtown Franklin. We have classrooms for learning and enrichment. So the concept is that during the day, in the mornings, the seniors are going to be there, bright and early, drinking coffee, playing cards, exercising, you name it. In the afternoons, we're going to transition the building to support the arts and where families can come in. We have a huge dance program. We have over 500 kids dancing in a dance program. Huge dance studio there. We're going to have the performing arts, the visual arts, all those classrooms in there are going to be used in the mornings for seniors, in the evenings for activities for the family. So it's going to be a 7-day-a-week, about a 14-hour-a-day facility. We're going to pack it with exciting programming from beginning to end. And we've got a lot of partnerships. I want to let you know, this is news for everybody, but Williamson Medical Center has just agreed to become one of our sponsors. And they're going to sponsor all the lunch and learns for the seniors. And basically what that is they will provide a lunch and a whole speaker series, and it's free for seniors to be able to come in and sit down and talk about topics that help improve their quality of life. And Williamson Medical Center is going to do that and feed them. And you're talking about an outstanding program. And we hope we get 250 people every month that we do this. So that's kind of the tip of the iceberg. And as we get a little closer, there'll be a whole media push to let the public know when the opening is. And that's just the Enrichment Center. If you want to get me started on the theater, we can talk about that, but I'll throw it back to you for a second.
So under the Enrichment Center, as you approach the front side of the building, you will see that the trees have been protected. I think we have had to remove a couple of them because of the disease, and the trees were either dead or about to die. But otherwise, all of the front side has been protected, will be protected, so that you can feel like you're not just looking at a piece of concrete and asphalt going up. Beautiful trees there, old trees, 50, 75 years old. The inside of it, I'd like to touch on and support people that, particularly if they've gone to BGA, if you would touch on that, what we were calling the wall for identification. And it's a great opportunity here for the past BGA alumni to purchase a brick or literally purchase a sign or a little plaque, thank you, they could go on to a wall as you first come in the main entrance and have your name listed there. Certainly they can contact you, but or your office and work out the details on that. And I think they're around about $100 if I remember correctly. And if you get a larger one and you want to name all of your entire family, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But you can buy a plaque and put it on a wall as you first come in, and that will be identified with the people that have supported Parks and Recs and this senior city, and will always be there.
Yeah, you're right. It's I guess it doesn't officially have a name, but I would kind of consider it a legacy wall because
that's a good name for it.
You know, it's and that's what it's established for. You know, one of the things that I mentioned earlier is preservation, and all the brick that is on that huge wall is the original brick from Fleming Hall, and so it means something to a lot of people. But we were able to restore that brick. The county property maintenance guys did a great job of saving that brick and then cleaning it up for us, and so we've brought it in, and now we have the opportunity, like you said, to raise a little money by marketing this legacy opportunity. So you don't necessarily have to be a BGA product, but if you're a supporter of the arts, if you want to honor one of your family members who's enjoyed senior activities, even part of the J.L. Clay Center, if you do have family that actually went to school on that campus, it gives you an opportunity for $100 to be able to have up to 3 lines on a plaque. We even, BGA allowed us to use their logo. So if you want to identify with BGA, you can put the logo up there. You can remember one of your family members. If you want to support the arts, you can dedicate it to a family member who's enjoyed the theater over the years or danced. If you want to recognize someone who's enjoyed the company of others and supported seniors, you can do that. So it's just an opportunity. Actually, as long as you keep it clean, you can you can leave your legacy up there just about any way you want to.
Gordon, let's talk a little bit about the community theater, because I know our time will begin to phase out, and then I want to touch on the fountain that we hope to be able to put all this together by here in a couple of weeks, well, maybe mid-March. Look at it in some avenue like that. But the community theater is something that you have stressed to me, along with your predecessor, for a long time. We need it. Explain what we're talking about, the community theater. Talk a little bit about that avenue, which is directly behind the school and this new enrichment center.
Once again, keeping with the theme of preservation, Coverdale Hall. If it was still a gym, Mayor, it would be the second oldest gym in the state of Tennessee. But it's undergone a lot of transformations, and the latest transformation is that we are turning it into a theater/performing arts center. And you're right, my predecessor, Doug Hood, this was very important to him. And because our department, through his leadership years ago and through the hard work and dedication of our staff, have created a lot of performing arts programs. You know, we have the Starbright Children's Theater that's never had its own home. We have our own Rhythm and Spirit dance with over 500 kids participating in that. We started a community band years ago that now is up to about 80 members, the youngest being about 8 years old and the oldest being about 80. And it's a true community band. If you've never had the opportunity to hear them play, they are really, really good. So we've had these programs that have existed for a number of years, but we've never had a home for them. And so now with the Theater and Performing Arts Center, we're going to be able to not only enhance those programs, but we're going to be able to tie in and work with some of the local programs that have been here for a long time that have homes, but necessarily not the seating capacity of a 300-seat state-of-the-art performance center. So we'll reach out to the folks at Studio 10, Off the Square, Pull Tight. If I'm missing somebody, it's just because I'm still learning that part of the business. But if you are involved in the arts in Williamson County, the Franklin Theater has done a great job. you know, that's a dear program to a lot of people and has a lot of support. But we're here to complement what they do. We're not to compete with them. We're here to supplement the additional opportunities for people to be able to perform and do things. I can't wait for people to get in there and see this. It's not finished yet. Like you had mentioned a minute ago, if you want me to, I'll go ahead and kind of give the little timeline. We feel like we should be able to open the Enrichment Center sometime by mid-January, late January. The theater, Performing Arts Center, should be about a month behind that. So it looks like we should be able to get in there mid to late February. And then I'll let you talk about the last component of it, which would be the courtyard. And we should be able to do that like in mid-March. So if you want to get under that, we can jump into that one.
Well, one of the things in the community theater that helped to sell this committee, and by the way, two of those committee members are no longer with us, John Hancock and Coach Langstrom, which were both strong advocates for our seniors in the community theater and for the arts. Both of these men had been very good public servants. Of course, John worked for many years at the highway department after he worked a career at American Airlines. And he'd been a county commissioner since actually before I came along around on the scene in the 80s. And so John was always strong in sports, and the arts was just a natural. Of course, Coach Langstrom was a sports figure out at BGA, and his love for the arts was just incredible. And so out of that came the community theater concept and the way that it's designed, and actually using the building. We did add a little on to the side of it for kind of a lobby setting area. But we also discovered something else out on the side we didn't know we had several years ago and preserved it. And I'm excited about that too. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, like you said, we have we did have to add on to the building because we had to create the lobby space. But several years ago, after the county acquired the property, they're out there just messing around, and they uncovered this unbelievable cistern well that has running water. And I mean, it's not standing water; it's actually running water. You can hear it. It's a beautifully constructed limestone walled well, and we are going to use that as a feature. We're going to actually make a courtyard beside the building. We're going to cover it with a custom-made tent, and we're actually going to highlight that well we're going to light it, and it's going to be a central part of that outer lobby where you can stand there, look down into it, and it'll be covered. Nobody's going to fall in, of course, but yeah, it's just that whole theme of preservation, wrapping our arms around the history that is Williamson County and Franklin, and just making everything unique. And it'd be a nice attraction, a nice little conversation piece while you're standing around at the theater, waiting on the second act or as you're waiting to go in. It's just another one of those just little things that add up to make this whole thing really special.
So in the front part of in between the community theater and the Renaissance High School, there was an old courtyard there. And I have been told, not been a resident here in Williamson County until the early 80s, but it's my understanding that in the 60s and 70s and 50s, many first kisses were there. Many proposals have been offered there. And although we couldn't continue to use the current configuration of it, we are able to bring back a center focus point that people can conjugate, sit around, talk, remember, and develop the future kisses and activities for many years to come. And I'm very excited about that too. And that's a lot of that effort has been put in, not just by the county, but the city is helping part of this process. We've had incredible support from our students over there. I know the students helped design some of that, although we couldn't use every single idea they had, but it was the concept that helped to develop it to this point. I'm excited about that.
Well, let me tell you, the courtyard is actually going to be the thing that's going to tie everything together. And, you know, we were able to, through donations from the city, like you mentioned, donations from J.L. Clay and other outside organizations, we were able to raise the money necessary to be able to bring in this beautiful water feature. It's hard to really describe, you know, what all the components are of this water feature. All I can say is get ready, look for it. When you come to the campus, you'll hear it, you'll see it, you can actually touch it. And as you say, there were a lot of unions formed over there in that courtyard in the past. We feel like that this is going to be a place where we're going to actually probably reserve about 10 dates a year, as many as maybe 10 dates a year for possibilities of weddings, and let people, if they want to have an opportunity to use the courtyard for such a fashion. So anyway, you'll have to see it, and I know you're going to invite everybody there when we cut the ribbon on this thing sometime in early spring, and it's going to be an exciting time.
Got about 2 minutes left. We just finished the holiday season. We're in the budget processes. We never have enough land. We never have enough trails, parks, ball fields. But we've made a strong effort over the last several years to work with many, many different groups. And the only thing that we can say is that we're trying as hard as we can to offer more of those soccer fields and baseball and softball fields. But there's a huge, huge need as our community grows that not just focus around the Franklin area and the Brentwood area, but get out into our rural areas, and we're making all kinds of efforts to get out there. And I thank you for pushing that envelope to help us get that done.
Well, I thank you for the opportunity, and you know, I can't do it by myself. I believe we have I think we have the best staff in the state of Tennessee, because we have people with different backgrounds and different areas of expertise, and everybody loves working in this field, and we get a lot done. But we couldn't do it without your support, without the support of the county commission, but more importantly, without the support of the residents of Williamson County, because they choose to do things with us by choice. It's not a mandate that they come and use our facilities, but they choose to use our facilities, and we're blessed to have the opportunity to provide these services.
We're proud to offer them to the Williamson County residents, and we got to go. Thanks for being with us. Gordon Hampton, our Director of all of our Parks and Recreation here in Williamson County. I'm Roger Sanderson, the Mayor. We'll see you around the next time. Have a good day.